My name is Rachel Lane. I've been married to Daniel for 8 years. We met at a university fundraiser, both volunteering at the same event. He was charming, the kind of guy who could light up a room and talk to anyone. I was quiet, introverted, more analytical than emotional. We fell in love fast, and when we married 2 years later, I thought we were building something solid. I didn't know I was wrong. Daniel's family was tight-knit, especially with his younger sister, Marissa. She was always close to him, too close, if I'm honest. She was the kind of woman who inserted herself into every aspect of his life, including our marriage. At first, I chalked it up to strong sibling bonds, but as the years passed, things started to feel off. She showed up unannounced for dinner, sometimes with groceries as if she lived there. She'd critique my cooking, redo our furniture arrangements, and act like our home was hers. I voiced concerns to Daniel, gently at first, then more firmly, but he always brushed it off. "She's just used to being involved," he'd say. "You're the most important person in my life, Rachel. Don't be jealous." I wasn't jealous. I was uneasy. There's a difference. Then, one rainy Saturday morning, it happened. The thing that flipped my world inside out. I had just gotten out of bed, still in my robe, when I walked into the kitchen to find Daniel already making coffee. That was unusual. Daniel was not a morning person. Normally, I had to coax him out of bed with the smell of breakfast, or wait for him to roll out around 10 a.m. But that morning, he was up, dressed, and humming. He turned and smiled at me like nothing was out of place. "Good morning, beautiful," he said, reaching for the cupboard and grabbing my favorite mug, the navy one with the crack near the handle. "I thought I'd make you some coffee today. You deserve a break." I blinked. "Thanks," I said slowly. He poured the coffee, stirred it with the spoon I didn't recognize, then handed it to me. I raised it to my lips and stopped. There was something wrong with the smell. It wasn't immediate. It was subtle. The aroma was masked under the bold roast, but something metallic clung to the steam. I sniffed again. Chemical. Acrid. My throat tightened. "Did you clean the machine this morning?" I asked, holding the mug lower. "No," he replied casually. "Why?" "It smells different." He leaned over and sniffed my mug, frowning. "Smells fine to me. You sure you're not just tired?" Before I could answer, the front door clicked. Marissa stepped in without knocking, as usual. She held a tote bag and wore a pink raincoat. "I brought those croissants you like," she beamed at Daniel, then glanced at me. "Oh, you're still in your robe." I ignored the jab. "We weren't expecting anyone this morning." "I told her to stop by," Daniel interjected quickly. "Thought we could all have breakfast together." I held the mug, but didn't drink. I kept catching that bitter chemical whiff. Marissa dropped her bag on the counter and reached for the other mug on the tray, the one Daniel had prepared for himself. Something clicked in me. A quiet panic. I smiled and said, "Wait, I think you've got the better one." I reached across and swapped mugs with her. She blinked. "What?" "This one's stronger. You like your coffee strong, right?" "Well, yeah," she hesitated, "but just try it," I said with a grin, walking to the sink with my original mug and pretending to rinse it. She took a sip of the one I handed her. One sip. Then she froze. Her eyes widened slightly. It lasted for all 2 seconds, then she dropped the mug. Not spilled. Dropped. It hit the tile floor and shattered. Coffee splashed everywhere. Her face went pale. Sorry," she stammered. "It slipped." But I was watching her hands. They were shaking. She clutched the edge of the counter and swallowed hard. "I feel weird," she muttered. Daniel rushed to her side, grabbing her elbow. "Marissa, you okay?" "I need to sit down," she mumbled. Her knees buckled. I grabbed my phone. Daniel was too distracted to notice. I started recording a video as I knelt beside her. "Marissa, can you hear me? What's wrong?" She looked at me, and I saw it in her eyes. Fear. Not confusion, not pain. Fear. Daniel glanced up at me, expression tight. "Call 911, he said. But I didn't. I stood slowly, still recording, and walked to the sink, poured the remaining coffee from the mug she dropped into a glass container, sealed it. Then I turned off the camera. Daniel was still crouched beside her, panicked. "What the hell was in that coffee, Daniel?" I asked. His face snapped toward me. "What are you talking about?" "Don't play dumb," I said. "What was in it?" Marissa suddenly stood, just like that. No more dizziness, no more trembling. Nothing. She stared at me, jaw clenched. "You switched the mugs." "Damn right I did." "That was meant for me," she said bitterly, and the room went dead silent. Daniel's eyes widened. "What?" I turned and looked at him. "You knew." "No, wait, Marissa, what are you talking about?" She turned on him, eyes blazing. "She's ruining your life. You were supposed to be done with her." "Shut up," he hissed, looking at me. "Rachel, listen, I don't know what she's talking about." "Don't lie to me," I said, my voice cold. "Don't you dare lie to me now." The sound of my heartbeat filled my ears. My hands were cold, my knees trembled, but I stood still. "Tell me the truth, Daniel." He looked between the two of us. Marissa was pale but breathing fast, eyes wild. She wasn't poisoned. Not really. She had tasted her own plan, and now she was unraveling. "I didn't know she'd actually—" Then he stopped. That was enough. I turned, walked straight to the garage, and got in the car. I drove to my sister's place without calling ahead. I was shaking the entire drive. When I arrived, I handed her the sealed container and told her everything. She called her neighbor, who happened to work in a private lab. Within 24 hours, we had results. The sample contained ethylene glycol, antifreeze, tasteless, odorless, and deadly in the right dose. Enough to make someone sick, or worse. My stomach dropped. I contacted a lawyer immediately. She advised me to file a police report. I did. I submitted the sample, the video, and my statement, and I waited. Days passed. Then I got a call. The police wanted to bring both Daniel and Marissa in for questioning. They denied everything. Of course they did. But the lab report and my footage told a different story. Marissa claimed she had no idea how the substance got in the mug. Daniel claimed he just brewed the coffee. But inconsistencies piled up. Surveillance from the grocery store showed Marissa buying antifreeze 2 weeks ago. Not for her car, not in winter. One of Daniel's emails to her read, "Are you sure this is the only way?" When confronted with that, he went silent. I wasn't there when they finally cracked, but I got the call. Daniel confessed to going along with Marissa's plan. She had convinced him I was holding him back, controlling his life, making him miserable. He claimed she said it would just make me sick, enough to cause concern, enough to give him grounds for a separation. But when the plan reversed, when she tasted the same poison, everything fell apart. Both were arrested. Marissa was charged with attempted murder. Daniel with conspiracy. The house was in my name. He couldn't touch it. My lawyer made sure of that. The divorce papers were filed the same week. But here's the worst part, the part I haven't told anyone. I wasn't surprised. Deep down, I'd felt it coming for a long time. The way he distanced himself, the way she looked at him, the tension I'd brushed off for years. It all added up. And when I smelled that coffee, something in my body screamed, "Do not drink this." Instinct saved my life. Now I live alone. Quietly, cautiously. I changed the locks. I sold the car. I adopted a dog from a shelter for protection and company. Every morning, I make my own coffee. Black. No sugar, no cream, no help. And sometimes I still think about that moment when I chose to switch mugs. One small decision that shattered everything and saved me. You think you know someone after 8 years. You think marriage is a bond that can't be broken. But sometimes it's just a mask. And when it slips, you better be ready to run. Because the truth can be fatal.